Good morning and very welcome to this assured demo online event from Gothenburg, hosted by Volvo Buses. My name is Åsa Lindell and I'm happy to be your moderator here today, where we will demonstrate technologies for high-power charging of urban commercial vehicles. During this 1.5 hours, we will make a visit to the demo sites and we will also discuss challenges and opportunities and also a bit about the future, of course. You will also be able to discuss with us. There will be a poll and also the possibility to send in questions. That will take place in the break. Now, I'm very, very happy to introduce your Gothenburg host, Mr. Håkan Agnew, President of Volvo Buses.
Thank you, thanks a lot, and a warm welcome to everybody on the virtual space. Warm welcome to Gothenburg, and also warm welcome to the Volvo Bus Experience Center. Actually, we are in the facilities here today where the electromobility journey of Volvo Buses started. So this is where we made our first pilots, this is where we had our first customers and tens and thousands of customers following that. This is also where we developed the idea of charging infrastructure that really serves interoperability. I think that is a key word that we will hear many times today. Interoperability is all about being able to charge different vehicle types, or vehicles of different makes, so to say, and also to use charging infrastructure from different suppliers and mix it all together. So, I'm sure we're going to have some really exciting first 1.5 hours and a warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Håkan, and we are looking forward to hear more about your initiatives at Volvo Buses in electrification. But we will start with getting a bit of the broader picture, and here we have a message from the EU Commission.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here with you for this exciting launch of the Assured project financed by the European Union's Research and Innovation Framework Programme, Horizon 2020. And I'm particularly grateful to Volvo and the UITP for inviting me to represent the European Commission at this launch. The start of these demonstration activities for future electric buses in the city of Gothenburg is particularly important, as the COVID-19 crisis is presenting us all with new challenges, whether for local authorities, public and private urban transport organizations, and citizens, as it impacts in a major way in our daily lives. And the European Commission is therefore very happy to be able to support this flagship project, which results from good cooperation between the research community, industrial actors within the European Green Vehicles Partnership, and the European Commission. And in this way, we're hoping to strengthen the competitiveness of European industry. Electrification of urban transport vehicles, like e-buses, and their integration into the overall system is a privileged path to improve air quality and reduce CO2 emissions in European cities, in line with our flagship objectives under the European Green Deal. The Green Deal emphasizes that transport must become dramatically less polluting, by 90% compared with current levels, if we're to make genuine progress in reducing emissions. And I think that the future innovation and research program, Horizon Europe, which will start next year, will give us further tools to make progress in this important area and to deliver higher levels of ambition. So in conclusion, I'd like to leave you with two messages. Firstly, research and innovation is a vital driver of the green and digital recovery that we want to see following the COVID crisis. And that as part of this, we need innovative mobility solutions that can be tested and deployed in environments across Europe. And this Assured project, starting in Gothenburg, rolling out in other European cities in the coming months, is an extremely important and very visible manifestation of our shared commitment to the objectives of the European Green Deal. And so I wish you every success in the implementation of this important initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Child from the EU Commission. And now over to the UITP and its Secretary General, Mr. Mohamed Mezgani.
Good morning, everyone. Since many years now, UITP has had a vision for a sustainable and inclusive future of urban mobility. Our goal has been to not just build awareness, but to also find ways to help achieve this among our members and beyond. This is essential now more than ever. While the sector rightfully focuses on challenges induced by the pandemic, we must remind ourselves about the bigger picture. In parallel, we are still dealing with massive global issues, one of these being climate change. Our sector has a direct effect on this reality. While knowledge building, sharing, and advocacy campaigns have helped support the sector, one of the key methods of backing our members' transition to cleaner fleets has been by undertaking projects such as Zeus and Assured. We started with Leading Zeus, the pioneering project in the introduction of electric buses and trolleybuses. We then moved on to Assured, which deals with the electrification of urban commercial fleets. This project brings together the industry, cities, and operators in a common effort towards the interoperability and standardization for charging electric buses. Of course, UITP could not have achieved much without the involvement of members like Volvo, who are also project partners. Through these projects and our other initiatives, UITP is proud to be part of this collective problem solving. We will continue to do so to achieve our vision of sustainable and inclusive future of urban mobility. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a great event.
Thank you, Mr. Mascani. And now we'll hear more about the Assured project, about its vision and its mission. And this will be done by the project coordinator, Mr. Van Mierlo.
As director of the Mobi Research Center and coordinator of the Assured project, it's my pleasure to welcome you all to the online Gothenburg Demo launch of Assured. Sustainability is a key value for us. It drives our research activities. So also in this respect, the Assured project is something you're very committed to. The Assured project aims to boost the integration of urban commercial electric vehicles with high-power fast charging infrastructure across Europe. The project started in October 2017 with the aim of developing and testing high-power solutions for full-size urban heavy-duty applications. The fundamental aim is that each of these solutions will be able to charge various types of vehicles and are designed to supply energy for a whole fleet of buses. In addition, novel research on safety, reliability, and grid stability is being conducted, not only to ensure a secure and balanced energy supply, but also to minimize the impact on battery aging. Furthermore, standardization and interoperability of the charging infrastructure are being developed together with the adaptation of smart management strategies. These actions will help in reducing cost of the infrastructure. By many of these novel research aspects will be tackled today. I'm therefore confident that the program we have created for you today will match your expectations by bringing the latest research trends in sustainable mobility. I wish you an exciting and stimulating day, and I will now invite you to have a look to the following Assured project video.
Poor air quality and traffic congestion are pressing challenges faced by many cities today. Electrification of urban transport is considered a great solution to make our streets healthier, less noisy, and more livable. However, while more and more cities are realizing their potential, electric vehicles are often introduced in small numbers. Because charging solutions for electric vehicles are not standardized yet, the needed infrastructure to integrate them in transport networks can be very costly. Now, the Assured project aims to enable the large-scale deployment of electric fleets in cities. Assured will develop innovative solutions that will support standardization and interoperability of electric vehicles and optimize fleet operation and charging strategies. During the project, electric buses, trucks and vans will test different types of charging solutions. Assured solutions will first be tested in controlled conditions. and later operated in real cities. When interoperability is achieved, operators can mix and match different brands of vehicles and chargers and integrate them in high-power charging infrastructure. By supporting the uptake of large fleets of electric vehicles, Assured will help make cities cleaner, greener and healthier, helping Europe become a better place to live.
As you've heard, the Assured project involves evaluating the charging infrastructure in cities across Europe. Today, we will take a closer look on the Gothenburg Demo. And this is what we're going to experience here today.
Hello, my name is Ulo Masing and I'm here with Stefan Widlund, City Mobility Director from Volvo Buses.
Today we will demonstrate 4 different types of charging applications and different vehicles. An indoor bus stop, high power charging up to 450 kilowatt, a high power charging station for trucks and cars, and Panto charging.
See you soon at our first stop.
Welcome back, Håkan. It looks as we have a very exciting event here today.
Here we do, and I think it's also a great team behind it to make this happen in a new environment. We all know COVID implication, but we are really excited.
And you were at Volvo Buses very early driver for this electrification. Can you tell me a bit more about the history?
Yeah, the story there is in the around 2005, 2006, Volvo as a group did some strategic studies where we were looking at the future drivelines, both for transport of people and transport of goods. And the conclusion was that for city transport, the future is electric. So that meant that the Volvo Group invested very early into electromobility, and in buses we got the privilege to be the pioneers, since the city bus application is ideally suited for electrification. And I remember when I joined Volvo Buses in 2013, and we had the UITP exhibition in Geneva, where Volvo showed an electric bus. And I think by that, in those days, we were the only one showing an electric bus. And I remember getting a lot of concerned questions if Volvo has lost the plot or what were we thinking. And contrasting that with 2019 Busworld, I know many of us participated, where you went and saw from booth to booth, you saw all the suppliers and everybody had electric city buses. So it's been a fantastic development. I think now it's fully acknowledged that electromobility will be one of the major way forwards. I think it's important to point out not the only way forward, but one of the major way forwards. Then very early we also acknowledged the challenge of charging infrastructure and the need to have a holistic perspective. It's a system perspective, it's the vehicle, it's the charging infrastructure, it's the power system. And to have open interfaces. A city cannot be locked in with only one supplier. And that goes on the vehicle or on the charging infrastructure. And to have this interoperability, we need standards. And we need open standards so everybody can join. And that was a leading thought already from the beginning for Volvo.
So you already stated that the interoperability is the key factor in this electrification of the buses.
I think this is extremely important to make it happen and to have all the parties joining and feeling welcome to join as well.
So that means that you as a manufacturer, you're totally open, inviting your competitors into the same system.
Yes, we are. I mean, we defined the upcharge standard, which is one standard for fast charging. There is standards for overnight charging. We all know that. And the whole idea was to create a standard that everybody could use. It's a little bit, we call it, maybe a bit exaggerating, but the Bluetooth of public transport.
So these 7 years, they have been full development focus. Would you say that now we are beyond the testing period?
I clearly say we are beyond the testing period. I know many of people in the audience, you have now fairly big electric bus fleets running. I think the technology is proving itself. So we are beyond piloting and we are in kind of commercial deployment. Then, of course, we need to address the issues that are there around the charging infrastructure. You need to have a systematic approach. It's not only deploying a vehicle, it's to integrate the system. but it's commercially viable and the development is happening as we speak.
Okay, let's take a first look on one of the demo sites that we're going to look at today. And this is a high-powered charging. It's an up-charge solution from Siemens, and it has been running since 2015.
So here we are at an indoor bus stop. What a great idea. But of course, electric buses can go indoors.
Definitely.
And this is an end station for an electric bus line. So this must be the perfect charging station as well.
Yes, here we have a 300 kilowatt charger from Siemens, fulfilling the upcharge standard. The pantograph is integrated in the ceiling, and buses normally charge for a couple of minutes during the scheduled layover. And this has been in operation since 2015, over 5 years.
But do you have to charge the bus every time it comes to this end station?
You don't need to charge every time. There is safety in the system, redundancy. So if you, for instance, during peak hours are delayed and there's no time to charge, you can continue your traffic without charging.
But an indoor bus stop like this one, it must be pretty unique in the entire world, actually.
Unique so far, but indoor bus stop shows the possibilities. You can have it in bus terminals, shopping malls, or even hospitals. And look here, we have books, coffee shop, DHL parcel delivery inside the bus stop.
But how about the safety? With a lot of electric equipment and people are waiting here for the bus.
It's completely safe. You can charge the bus and you can have passengers board the bus and get off the bus during charging.
But where is the charger?
The actual charger is down in the basement below us. And the excess heat is used to warm up this area during the winter time.
Very nice during a Swedish winter.
For sure.
That sounds great. Let's go on to our next stop.
Wow, this indoor bus concept seems really, really interesting, and it's one of the few in the world.
It is, but we think there will be plenty to go around because the nice thing with the indoor concept, it gives new opportunities for urban planning. When we started our journey into electromobility, it was a lot about sustainability, reducing emission, important starting point. We learned on our journey the value of eliminating noise. Because if you have a mode of transport that is emission-free and free of noise, you can bring public transport closer to people and you can bring it indoors. And it opens up new opportunities for urban planning. I think these opportunities we are just starting to explore, but I think they are really exciting. And will bring new opportunities for public transport, and we know we are very passionate about that. The continuation of the journey, when we see more electric buses coming into the system, is that now you will have you could say, a component in the power system of the city, and you can use that component for load balancing and a lot about smart grids. It's a lot of focus there in the power industry. And fourthly, I would say, I think there will be an increased focus on cybersecurity because these are systems, they generate a lot of data, you can actually control the whole city with these systems, and I think everybody will be very focused on making sure that accessibility to those data is the right one and the control is the right one. So sustainability, urban planning, power system operation, and cybersecurity.
It seems that it's a very strategic element of the urban development then.
Yes, it is. It clearly is.
And you've been working with this for 5 years. One or two key learnings from those years?
That it works.
That it works. That's a good one.
You saw the indoor bus stop here in Gothenburg at the Chalmers campus. It's been operating now for 5 years. In winters, in summers, with people, and the doors are working, the heating, the cooling is working, the buses are working, and the people really like the concept. And I think this we are all working with making public transport more and more attractive. And I think this is a great concept, especially if you have countries where it's cold in the winter or hot in the summer. If you can stand indoors and have a good temperature around you, it really makes public transport attractive.
Yep. So we're looking forward to more indoor concepts. Thank you so much. We will now look on one more example. This is also a high-power up-charge one, and this come from ABB. And please have a look.
And here we are at our next stop. We're in the docklands of Gothenburg, an area prospering with some new office complexes, hotels, restaurants, and of course, bus traffic. But Stefan, this bus stop is quite different from the one we saw last time.
Yeah, that's right. Line 16 is one of the busiest routes in Gothenburg. It's a high-capacity BRT line with dedicated lanes.
So this is a high-capacity line?
Yes, with buses that leaves every 4th minute in peak traffic. And these 2 electric buses, they carry 30,000 passengers per month.
If you look at the charging station, what's so special about it here?
The charging station here fulfills the requirements of high-power charging with up to 450 kilowatts in the Assured project.
But can shorter buses, like 12-meter buses and these long articulated ones, both use this station?
Yes, this station can be used by all vehicles that comply to the up-charge de facto standard. And that's a standardization for communication, electric interface and positioning.
But does the driver have to do anything to charge the bus here if he drives a 12-meter bus or 18-meter bus that needs different powers?
No, for the driver it is as normal, and the bus will tell via the communication to the charger how much power it requires.
But why go for this type of charging when you can have overnight charging in the bus depot instead?
We do both. There are advantages with charging en route. One of the advantages is that you have unlimited range, and the charging en route means that you actually can travel 24/7.
My first reaction, Håkan, is this really possible to have 24/7 operation like this?
It is. I mean, that's the advantage with upcharge and fast charging. It's you're charging at the end stops, and you charge for a short time, you charge more frequently than if you charge overnight. And by that, you don't need to stop in the depot for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. So you can actually run 24/7. There is no limit.
Impressive. What about, when you look at it, it seems that it's very, very smooth and easy also for the drivers.
Well, for the driver, it's very easy to apply. I mean, I'm a president of Volvo Buses, but I'm also a bus driver.
Oh, you are?
On my spare time, so to say. And I normally say if the president of Volvo Buses can charge an electric bus, I mean, anybody can do it.
So
I mean,
you have charge.
You apply the handbrake, you position the buses, you have tolerances there, you apply the brake and you charge. So the driver can really focus on the surroundings for the safety and also, you know, on the passenger. So to make sure everybody is safe.
That's really important, of course. And you used to drive that sometimes, or?
Yes, I mean that's part of my. We have coaches and city buses, and of course you need to use your own equipment, so to say. I also would like to say that, of course, and it's as we pointed out here. I mean, that's going to be overnight charge, and that's going to be upcharge, and you really need to have a systematic view on what is the best, because both technologies have their pros and cons. Both technologies offer certain things and have certain limitations.
And also in this system you also have geofencing. What is that?
A geofencing, it's digital fencing where you can set zero zones, zero emission zones or speed limit zones digitally. And that will prevent, for instance, if you want to create a zone around a school where you can only drive 30 kilometers an hour, the bus will not go faster. And it's all digitally implemented. The driver focuses on the surroundings and the traffic, and the bus regulates the speed.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you, Håkan, for that. You will be back later in this program. See you soon.
Yes, thank you.
And now we have heard that we are beyond testing. This is really in commercial use. And a person that knows everything about public transport and commercial use of urban buses is Roger Wanberg from Västtrafik, the big public transport authority here in Western Sweden. Welcome, Roger.
Thank you.
So you have experienced this for a number of years now, and could you just tell me a little bit of your experience so far?
Yeah, we have a lot of experience. We started for about 7-8 years ago with a small test of 3 electric hybrids with opportunity charging at the end stations. And then 2015, we electrified one line, new line, line 55, that the whole line was electrified and run that for until now. And last year, we started to introduce electric buses in larger scale with existing contracts. And in December, we will have 230 electric buses in operation. And our experience is very positive. It's, the operation is doing very well, so it's very positive on the operation side.
If you look on the passenger and the citizen side, what do they say? What do they like about this?
Well, we do onboard surveys on all our operation and for customer satisfaction. And in the line 55, we had many months where we had 100% customer satisfaction. And that is unheard of in city traffic. So they are very, very much appreciate that it's low noise, that it's modern design, and it's environmental friendly. And the same is for our bus drivers. They are very proud of being part of this change and transition. And they, of course, also appreciate very much low noise level.
So the noise level is the big thing for them?
Yeah, I would say so, and but also to be proud of something new, something very environmental friendly, zero emission, and so on. So that's a very important part.
And the passengers, is that the noise thing also that comes first on their list, what they like, or? Noise
is very important, but also that it's not only that it's electric buses. We try to also make it more attractive in other ways. So it's a whole new concept. Yeah.
And you said you have 60 buses today, of which 30 in Gothenburg, and you will invest in 145 more this autumn.
Yeah.
Tell me, why are you investing so much?
Well, the main reason is we have very high goals in emission and climate. We have a climate and emission strategy, and that is today we run almost all buses on renewable fuel. We have no fossil diesel, for example. We run on biodiesel, biogas, and some electric. And to take the next step, we have to electrify. We have already achieved a reduction in carbon dioxide by 70%, which is a national goal to 2030. We want to reach 90% by 2035, and in order to do so, we have to electrify all city bus traffic.
So all city bus traffic?
All city bus traffic in the whole region.
That's very, very impressive. We've already talked about the interoperability and the standardization. Can you tell me why is that so important?
Well, for us it's important to have control of the charging structure. Just to explain that we tender all our operations. We don't own the buses ourselves, it's operators. So we tender for 10 years. But we, of course, would like to use the charging structure when the next operator comes in. And we also want to have control of the places. So it's very important that charging structure that they can be used for the next operator, regardless of what kind of brand they're using. So that interoperability for us, the most important is that it is interoperability between different brand of buses, different type of buses.
One other thing that I would like to ask you about, what has been the biggest enabler, really, in this development that we've seen here in Gothenburg?
Well, I think the biggest enabler is that we have a long-term political commitment. We have in West Sweden a long-term political commitment of both the majority in the parliament and the minority. So regardless of that we have election and it might switch, which it of course very often does, the strategy, the vision of the public transport is the same. And that is, of course, very much important for us, and that we can plan all our transition in long term. So we know that we will actually electrify all the city bus traffic.
So this has been stable?
It's very, very stable, yes. And all of them are, they have the same vision about public transport, that that we have to double the ridership. That is very important with sustainable modes in order to make the whole West Sweden and the city sustainable. An attractive region. And
yeah, that's of course one of the key elements.
Yeah.
You said something about moving on, but I would like you to hear your vision once again. Yeah. How do you see the future?
Well, it is not a vision. It is actually a plan that we're implementing in large scale. As you said, this fall or in December, we get another 150 buses. We have already out-tendered for the operation in downtown area and East Gothenburg that will be electrified by December 2022. And then 2023, we will electrify the Hisingen Island, this part of Gothenburg that we are in now, which means that basically all city traffic in Gothenburg will be electrified by 2023. At the same time, we electrify cities north of Gothenburg in 2022, and the rest 2024 and 2027. So about 2027, we have actually electrified basically all our city traffic. And after that, we would like to electrify some of the regional buses.
So what would it look like in 2030, you think?
Well, 2030, we will have at least 750 electric buses.
Thank you very much, Roger. I'll be happy to welcome you back after the break. And maybe you go away now and buy some buses.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will now have the virtual coffee break. And that will be a 10 minutes break. And as we said before, you will be able to participate now. There will be one poll with 4 questions, and you will also be asked, if you want to send in your question that we will try to answer here in the studio. So if you will now scan your QR code, use your cell phone, you will be taken to the 4 quick questions. And in order to send in your questions, you use the chat function, which you will find on the right corner of your screen. See you soon. Welcome back, and welcome back Håkan and Roger. And we also have with us Ulf, and you are the head of Europe, Ulf Magnusson, head of Europe at Volvo Buses. So we're going to now take a look at the poll results. We start with that. And I have the question about, let's see here. What is the main driver for electrification on public transport in your city, region, or country? And here we can see that 84% answers what? What do you think? No emission, low noise, or urban planning possibilities? What do you think?
I guess.
No emission.
No, yes, no emission. So that is really the most important thing. Roger, can you comment on that?
Well, it's a drive for us, as I said before, about our very high climate and emission targets. So that is a drive. But I also think that for cities, it's very important with the noise and urban planning as well. But the actual drive is no emission.
Is it the same thing for you in Volvo?
I would say so. That is, we follow the market and we try to deliver what the market is requiring.
Okay, I think we're going to take a look on the third question, and that is, what is your preferred charging concept? And here we can see that 67% says in depot only, and then 33% says en route for extended range. Håkan, is that what you would have expected?
I would say 20 to 30% fast charging, and the majority is with depot charging. And as we talked about before, both technologies have their merits. And you need to have, as I said, the system approach, analyzing what is your need. Because upcharge has the advantage of less batteries, you can run 24/7, and you actually distribute the power consumption, both geographically and over time, which could have a significant benefit for the power system. Then, of course, with the depot charging, you get a bus that you can operate more like a diesel bus. You charge it, and then you have the full flexibility. And so it's a mix. Roger, I mean, you have both, and you are mixing.
Yeah.
But is it important? Is it important for you at all?
No, we don't specify. So the most important is that there's an efficient operation, and whatever that. But we help our operators to fix the power supply to depots and to have places for upcharging. But it's actually the operator that decides.
Okay, let's go to question 4. So, what do you think is the most important technical factor for the growth of public transport electrification? Higher charging power leading to shorter charging time, 32%. Increased battery capacity, 29%. Smart charging for better grid utilization, 26%. And well-defined charging standards for increased interoperability, 13%. Comment from you, Ulf.
You see that the majority is split here. You have about the same number of people answering the same importance for each question. And that proves to me at least that different demands require different solutions, and different cities have different demands. So it's not a surprise to me at least.
No. So this is really both and. We need both and in a good efficient system.
You need everything.
Yeah. Okay, we have a lot of questions coming in too. I think we're going to move on to them here. Let's see, we have a question. It would be exciting to hear about the deployment of electric buses in Gothenburg. How is it working with the grid capacity? Any limitations in Gothenburg and in general? Who wants to answer that?
Yeah. Well, I can answer.
Yes.
Well, we are very fortunate in Gothenburg and West Sweden. So we don't foresee any problems with the grid if we're talking about the regional level, which is firstly the most important, of course, that you have to have enough grid capacity for the region. And we have that very fortunate here. So what we have to, of course, is to make sure that is also in the local level with the transformation and so on. But for us, it's not something that stops us here. But of course, for many cities and regions, that is a very important aspect, that you have to get more capacity. And of course, when everything else electrify, trucks, cars, and so on, it will be. And then it's very important with smarter charging structures, as one of the questions before.
Yeah, but for the years to come, you don't see this as
there is not something that is a problem for Gothenburg.
And from Volvo, what do you say about this?
No, if I take a global perspective, I mean, the whole power system area is extremely important when you plan for electric bus operation, and that's why you need to have this system approach. This is also why you need to engage new stakeholders in public transport. You have the utility companies and the power planning. And that adds a dimension of complexity. Let's be frank about it. But the benefits of electric buses is also great. So it's worth the hassle, so to say. But I mean, also we see that many cities have now done their first piloting, and you bring in a handful of buses, and the charging infrastructure and the whole power system question might not be that important. It's in the first piloting. But when you move into big systems here in Gothenburg, but also in many other cities in Europe, you really need to consider the power system issue carefully. It's there, and if you have a structured approach to it already from the start of a project, you can certainly deal with it. In some cities, you have a strong power grid, especially normally if you have a tram system in place. In other cities, there is a weaker power system, and then it becomes more of an issue to deal with, so to say. And then it's worth looking into. Depot charging requires more of the power system because you have a big power outtake in a single point and during a concentrated period of time, whereas the upcharge, you can distribute the power outtake over the whole power system because you charge in different points, and you can also spread out the consumption over the day. So careful consideration needed.
Okay, we have a few technical questions about these systems, and one of them comes from Belgrade, and goes like this. What is real time of charging e-bus with fast charging system on terminal during regular operation? If I understand, power of charger is 300 kilowatt. Best regards, from Belgrade.
Yeah.
Who wants to answer?
No, I mean, if we're talking how much charging time do you need, for instance, to keep line 55 running, or, you know, a standard 12-kilometer city bus route, I would say you need 2 or 3 minutes, and sometimes you miss, because in peak hours you can actually miss, and then you need to recuperate with 5-6 minutes. But I would say in general 2-3 minutes. I don't know, Roger, you have the experience.
Yes, and that has decreased. From the beginning in 2015 there was a little longer, there was 5 minutes or something, and now we're on 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah. And can that evolve more, or will it be 3 minutes for the future? Can it be even shorter?
Depends on what the distance you're going to drive, because you can have less batteries, charge more often. You can have more batteries, charge less often. But in general, I would say that the charging time is coming down.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question here from Germany. Have you already tested the interoperability of your chargers with other bus manufacturers?
Yes, if I start, I mean, in Hamburg, if we take the German example, we have Hamburg is operating Volvo electric buses together with Solaris electric buses. So the whole thinking around upcharge is that different manufacturers can use the interfaces. So that is a very concrete example, and there are other ones in Norway, etc., etc. Upcharge today is installed in 17 countries all over the world, so it's used. And on our side, we also use different charging infrastructure providers like ABB, like Siemens, etc., etc. And as you see, it's also interoperable in the sense that you can charge 12-meter buses, Arctic buses, etc., etc. So I think the whole concept of interoperability is in these days well proven. And I think, Roger, you through the operators, you are a bus purchaser, and you see that you get offers from different suppliers.
Yes, yes. But right now in December, it's all
Volvo buses,
yes, in Gothenburg.
But you will buy more. You already told us.
Oh, yes.
So 700.
700.
Yeah.
So we foresee different manufacturers, and as I said, that's very important for us that it can be used in different.
Yeah. One more question about upcharge. Can upcharge be used for nighttime charging, and what would be the advantages of that?
We offer the overnight charging also with pantograph. So of course it can be used for overnight charging.
And is there a specific advantage of that? Or
I wouldn't say
No.
that's a special advantage, but it can
Yeah,
be.
It's possible.
I mean, the advantage with upcharge, I mean, if you want to use it for overnight, is obviously you get rid of all the cables on the floor and hooking up to the charging station. I mean, now we're talking very practical matters, but it's a nice interface coming down from the roof, and it's a very simple interface. Also, the operator, the driver, can apply it, so you don't need service people to hook up the cables. So I think there are a number of practical aspects. Also, I would say now we are talking a little bit more into the future. If we talk about the autonomous era, that will come, and it's a different topic, and we can certainly have a separate session on that. The Volvo message is a step-by-step journey. However, key point here, the upcharge charging principle is very well suited for autonomous operation. Clearly, because it's a standardized interface, it's a very automated interface. So we also see it as a very relevant standard as automation continues step by step.
Okay, thank you. We have one more question, and this is to an operator perspective. So for an operator that is looking to buy its first batch of electric buses, how should the on-street charger be specified to make sure that it's compatible with more new buses later on, and which might be from a different supplier? Can you advise on what can be done right now in this regard?
Shall I?
Please.
We are today operating together with 5 different suppliers of upcharge equipment. And I would say to this person who had that question that use a standard. And if you use a standard, you will be well taken care of.
So the standard is enough when it comes to this question, using more supplies. Okay, see if there has come in any more question. Yes, one more. A question to Volvo. As one of the largest bus manufacturers, when do you see that all city buses are electric? I don't know, it doesn't specify where, or is it in the world, or is it in Sweden, but you can choose your answer.
We would like to see that happen as soon as possible.
Yeah, and when is as soon as possible?
I think Västtrafik have proven that they have a vision, and they said that everything should be like
a plan. Yes, a plan.
And they said that all buses should be electrified by 2030. So I think that is a good year to aim for.
Also, as you are head of Europe, would you say on the European level?
Gothenburg is in the forefront, but we see this. I mean, it's like a pandemic coming. It's a good pandemic.
I think it's coming very much in Europe with from the EU and so on, that more and more will be electric in the cities.
More or less every single tender we are receiving today have a big portion of electrified buses. So we see it's a good movement.
Good movement. And last then, for you, Håkan, to comment, as you are the president of Volvo Buses, if you answer on the global level, what do you say?
On the global level, I think electromobility also is a very strong trend. However, and I think I pointed out, electromobility is one of the major way forwards, and because it's also important not to get stuck in there is only one solution. All cities are different, and creating sustainable solutions. It's about, of course, environmental sustainability, but we all know it's about financial sustainability and social sustainability. And that, from a global perspective, it means that still there are alternatives that you need to consider, because at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, how do I get the most sustainability for the buck, so to say? How do I get the most bang for the buck? But clearly, electromobility is one of the major way forwards.
Okay, and that was the last word from this panel. Thank you very much. We meet you soon again. Thank you very much, Roger, for coming.
Thank you.
Urban commercial vehicles in the Assured projects is not only about buses, it's also about trucks. And that makes me happy, as I used to be the environmental manager at Schenker Logistics, where we worked a lot to create possibilities for greener solutions in the logistics area. And now I'm very happy to have with me Jonas Odemalm, and you are the Vice President for Electromobility at Volvo Trucks.
Thank you.
The first question to you is you launched the first electric truck in 2019. Where would you say Volvo is right now in this development?
Well, these two first full electric truck models, Volvo FL and Volvo FE Electric, they are commercialized now. We started sales and production end of last year. And the first trucks, they are out on the market in the hands of the customer in daily operations. So that's absolutely fantastic.
And the next step, what would that be?
Yeah, the next step, these trucks, they are working in city close operations, city distribution and refuse collection. And that's a good starting point, which Volvo is pioneering. We have, and that, a lot thanks to the shared technology between Volvo Buses, electric buses, and Volvo Trucks. But our ambition is to scale up, and the next step is clear. We should expand electromobility as technology matures into new segments and more demanding applications. And on that note, we are very happy because last week we announced our first full electric heavy-duty trucks for construction applications, which we then have started. We handed over them to one of our customers here in Gothenburg, Sverok, and they are now running in daily operation as well there.
Where is that running, operating that?
That's the starting point is here in Kållered, where they have a big quarry, and it's a full electric mixer truck, probably the first of its kind in Europe, and hook lift tipper trucks that are then distribution construction material into different construction locations in the city of Gothenburg.
In the city, so the city.
So that's really interesting, exploring the potential of electromobility into sustainable transports of different construction and infrastructure sites in the city center. That's really interesting.
It's still a new market though, so what would you say are the main challenges?
Yes, there are a few, of course. When it comes to charging and interoperability and bearing on the Assured project, I think that we are well ahead, applying a CCS2 standard, which is accepted and it's a common standard in the transport industry in Europe. You will see examples of that later. But then, of course, there are other challenges as well, and we will continue to explore charging solutions on a system level, just like we have talked a lot about here at Buses, with buses, and to make sure that we get optimized solutions on a system level for our customers and society.
So, but what about the high-power charging standards? What is the situation right now?
Our offer is we have the Type 2 AC charging, and then of course also we as I said, we have the well-established CCS2 high-power charging, which is an industry standard, and it's capable of charging powers up to 350 kilowatts. So that is really, really good. On the other hand, we will continue the work, and the next step is collaboration between OEMs on global level in an initiative called Charging, which I think is a really good example of us being competitors but still working together for the greater cause. And this is then to industrialize and establish CCS2 further on and full implementation of that standard.
Okay, I think we're going to look what this means really in reality. So over to you, Ulo, again.
Here we are now at the Volvo Truck Center in Gothenburg. And with me, I have Magnus Broback, Director Charging Solutions at Volvo Trucks. Magnus, there is quite a difference between charging solutions for trucks and buses that we have been looking at.
Yeah, you're correct. And here we have built the first charging station in order to serve different purposes. One of them is, of course, to serve the service and repair you do at the truck center. But it's also a possibility for truck operators to charge the trucks while they take a break or while they do service. Trucks are very different in that sense compared to buses because they vary in routes, they have different assignments, different days. So they have to be a bit more flexible in order to charge at different locations at different times. And right now, this is what we call a city distribution truck that delivers grocery to a grocery chain in Gothenburg and makes a round tour, but it has to go back to do further loading and unloading during the day, and then it can use this position to do extra charging if required.
But basically it's the same kind of charging station that you can have in a bus depot for overnight charging.
Yes, that's the beauty of this. So we could charge whatever type of vehicle using the CCS2 standard here. We have an established standard which works, so given the purpose of assured, it's great compatibility.
And now we have a passenger car coming up here, Magnus. Tell us a little about it.
Yeah, that's the good thing. We use the same standard, the same technology as passenger cars. So it's no problem to use this charging equipment for passenger cars, for trucks, and for buses.
Thank you, Magnus. And with that, I think we are going back to our buses again.
It's really nice to see how you go from the truck to the car, isn't it? So smooth. We talked a bit about challenges that you can see, and I think there might be something else that can be a challenge for the industry.
Well, I think it's clear. We're starting now in a smaller scale, but our ambition and strategy is really clear. We really see electromobility as a long-term solution for sustainable transport. So the challenge is, of course, to scale up. There's one challenge on ourselves, and that is scaling up our industrial system, and that's our truck OEMs and the suppliers, of course, along the whole value chain that are responsible for that. But then, of course, also society needs to scale up, and the question is, of course, is that going fast enough? And
here, what do you think? Is it going fast enough?
I think it can go faster, of course. We need to provide the solutions, but then when they are here, we need to scale it up for society. And here, history has proven itself. We need support systems for that to speed up the transition. And here, from society, long-term objectives and prerequisites, together with incentive models, of course, is proven to speed up the process.
So that you still need more done in that area.
Of course, we need to have a clear direction from us and from society.
Looking in the future, can you describe a little bit how your development plan or vision looks like?
I said we're scaling up, and we started with city close operation, but it's clear objective to also take electromobility into more demanding operations within the coming years. So that is clear. When it comes to charging, I think for now we are relying a lot on depot charging overnight, but as I said, we are exploring different charging solutions to be able to scale up there as well.
It's an exciting period to be in charge of this development, isn't it?
It's the best job in the world, if you ask me.
One thing that we discussed before in the panel was if there was a risk for insufficient capacity, power capacity. How do you view that when you want to develop so much more?
Well, for now, I think we are in the clear now and in the coming years. But of course, for a broad adoption of electromobility in the truck industry, we need to make a common plan for the future to be able to cope with that.
Good luck with that plan. Thank you very much for attending, Jonas.
Thank you very much.
And we will now go back and talk more about the buses. So from trucks back to the buses. With me here now, I have Marie Karlsson, and you are Director Business Solutions at Volvo Buses. And you look very pleased.
Yes, and I think we'll show something very exciting here. So let's start immediately to show the film.
So hello again, we're back here now with Stefan and me, and we are in Arendal, which is a massive industrial park here in Gothenburg. And Stefan, you have brought us here for a very special reason, haven't you?
Yes, that's right. We will show an alternative for high power charging, Panto up or Panto on the bus, as we call it as well. It also offers the same degree of interoperability between chargers and vehicles.
But what are the differences except for the pantograph going up or down?
Well, I mean, there's two different solutions. One is that you have the pantograph at the actual charging station or at the bus stop, or on the Panto up or Panto on the bus, as we say, you have the pantograph on the bus.
Panto up, that's new from Volvo.
Yes, that's new for us, and we have actually listened to those who use our product, so now we offer both.
But in a city or in a limited bus network, can you combine both these systems?
You can definitely combine them, but you cannot run on the same route with the different technologies. So you can have a city using both Panto up and Panto down, but I think most cities will go for one of the alternatives.
Well, thank you. That's very interesting because this is brand new from Volvo Buses. And actually, this was our last stop. So Stefan and I will hand over back to you now.
Thank you, Ulo. And now we have Ulf with us here again. So this was a different solution.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We have a very flexible strategy regarding our charging offerings. And as we saw on the movie, we have the Panto up. And we have also the Panto down that is coming then together with the upcharge. And different solutions for different operators.
So Marie, when would you offer which solution?
Yeah, together with the customer, we make an analysis of the traffic conditions to see which is the best solution from a cost-efficient perspective, but also, of course, sustainability, and always with the interoperability focus on the traffic.
Can you tell me a bit more? We talked about interoperability much, but can you tell me a bit more how important that is, Ulf?
That is what the Assure program is all about, and that's why the Assure project has been so extremely important for us, and to gather so many different stakeholders that is actually involved in decision making for standardization. It's been vital for the future. And it's not only vital for Volvo, it's vital for all the partners in the Assure program.
And testing, you have been testing, and I know that there was a test recently in Barcelona. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, it was many manufacturers, both of charger and vehicles, electric vehicles, coming together, and together with IDA, making this testing together for interoperability. And it was very successful, so we will now in the future see this electric vehicle in the same city, on the same line, or on the same distribution line, doing the work together.
So that testing was really successful.
Yeah, I mean, you can charge whatever brand you have, you use the charger that is in the city. And if you're following the standard, it will work very smooth.
It seems that this is a really, really good thing. So what if I like it so much that I would like to buy one, Panto up?
Yeah, guess what? Our order books are open.
They are. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Marie and Ulf. You will stay. We will be here for the last part. We'll now move on to the conclusion of this program. And I will also invite back Håkan and Jonas. The first question is about where we are right now when it comes to this sort of smooth and seamless sharing economy, production, operation thing for the... Are we already there where trucks, cars, buses can really use the systems in a good way together? Or how far away are we from that? Who wants to answer?
Well, if I start, I think here public transport is a little bit ahead because public transport has gone into electric buses, has tried different charging infrastructure types and have operated electric vehicles really in commercial operation. I think our trucks colleagues, they are joining now full steam ahead and that will drive volume, that will drive the need to further, expand the charging infrastructure. But I think the synergies are there in the area of competence about power systems and planning, because that is a topic that needs to be addressed. And I mean, concretely, using the same CC2 combo 2 charging interface. So there are similarities, and I think there will be support. Then I'm not sure that the different vehicles types will actually use the same charging station always. Sometimes it will happen, but not always.
No, and I agree there, and that's why we went for the CCS2 standard. It's already established for cars and for buses, and we continue to use that. So there you have it's happening now, yes, I would say.
But do you think that you would be able to make more of this sharing of charging and other infrastructure?
Yes, I'm sure. In different situation, we will probably have dedicated for trucks, buses, and cars. But in many, for instance, in public charging, I think that there will be opportunities to share, definitely, and find the synergies. No doubt about it.
Ulf, what do you say?
I think it's also important to understand who is the owner of all this charging equipment, and there the cities need really to give it a good thought to make sure that there is someone who can actually own and operate the charging systems, and that will drive the development to be able to share this.
Is there more to be done there, you say?
Definitely more to be done.
You agree, Marie?
Yeah, I think the cooperation is not ended here. We need to take next step together to get fast speed up with electrification into cities.
If there's one decision that you really think would be important to really enable this development to go even further and better, what would that be?
If I may start, I think the whole thinking about the charging infrastructure and who's going to pay for it, quite frankly, and who's going to own it, like Ulf said here, I think that is critical. Because it's significant infrastructure investment. Even if the power system is there, it's still significant investments. And expanding out of the cities, I mean out in when you go between cities. And as we know, many governments are working on, how do we make this happen? Because here there is clearly a role for governments and for EU to step in.
Yeah, we are working hard with the technology development for the vehicles, and I think we are on this journey. So we really need to support to expand it. It would be a little bit sad if we were holding back on the infrastructure, and that would slow down the transition. Because I really think this is a good solution for sustainable transports in the future.
Ulf, you want to add something?
Yeah, if you allow me to be a little bit more holistic, I think that if we can all agree that how important it is to drive the development due to climate changes, and that we all need to accept that we need to do this, that will really be a good driver for the whole system going forward.
Would you say that is not so yet accepted everywhere?
It's accepted, but I think we can do more.
Do more. So it becomes also a driver for the development. Okay, I would now ask you a question that, let's say we will meet here or somewhere else, In 5 years, what would you like to tell me? Start with you, Marie.
Oh, that citizens in many European and also on global level have a nice city. That you can open the window and listen to the bird song instead of noisy traffic.
But still we get the business done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ulf.
I was into that on the presentation here that we had earlier this week, that the majority of all the listeners would really like to drive the attractive city. And an attractive city for me, it's a city that is in the forefront. It's developed. It's think about the noise level and the emission level, and we can all contribute to that by put more effort into driving the electrification on the public transport.
And you, as Volvo Bus, head of European?
We are definitely there to support.
Yeah. And not support, but more than that, I suppose.
Yeah, we are developing really nice products. We have a full product line that Marie was into that here also earlier this week.
Jonas?
As I said, our intention and strategy is to expand. So like we said before, I hope to see that we have expanded electromobility from the cities to outside the cities for more demanding transports, longer distances, and heavier in our case, which I believe is possible. And I really hope that the development of the vehicle together goes hand in hand with the development of infrastructure, and that society sets a clear direction, making sure that it goes hand in hand so we don't end up in a chicken and an egg situation holding us back. So that's really what I'm looking for.
So more trucks also on regional, also on national level?
Yes. I think that's our objectives are clear, and that's the mindset we need to have to set this, like I said before, the base for a transition for the future.
Okay, Håkan, what do you say? What you would like to tell us in 5 years?
In 5 years, I really would like to look back and said COVID is over. and we are back a little bit to normal life. But I do think that normal life will be a little bit different than before COVID. Personally, I think there will be less global travel. I mean, we all been digitalized now. We can interact like we interact today. I think that will lead to a little bit less global business travel. However, if you look at public transport in the cities, I think there is a strong trend. Yes, we will have more people working from home, but still people need to get together to be creative, to come up with new ideas. And I think that public transport will resurface. It is challenging times now. So in 5 years, I think we will be back in a good way in public transport. The sustainability agenda, the global sustainability agenda will be even stronger in 5 years, and that will really drive the need for public transport.
Thank you very much. Very clear message from you there. As this program is very much about the Assured project, what would you say, Marie, are the best learnings from that project?
Well, I mean, it's these kind of platforms, arenas where many manufacturers comes together is very, very important for the speed. We have talking about that we would like to have speed. And I think as the key learning is that cooperation. Without that, this will not happen. So let's continue the cooperation journey to get the world electrified.
Thank you very much. So it's all about, not all about, but very much about cooperation and what you can do together and find the synergies. Thank you, Marie, and thank you, Ulf, thank you, Håkan, and thank you, Jonas, and thank you, Roger, that was here with us before, and thank you, everybody that has been with us out in the audience and contributing to this great event. And I just want to say, continue to do the good and important job you do in creating better cities where people like to live and are attractive for everybody. Keep on the good work and do it together. Thank you very much from Gothenburg today.